name's Justin Richardson and I'm with Direct Colors. Let's talk a little bit about your surface that you're going to do a decorative concrete project on. And today I want to talk about how smooth or slick or porous the concrete is. One thing you can do to make sure that you have a good porosity to your concrete so your products will soak in is a water test. Here I've got a quart of water. I'm just going to dampen or wet this down, and we're going to see how long it takes for the water to soak in. It should completely soak through the surface in 3 to 5 minutes. If it soaks through the surface in 3 to 5 minutes, you're good to go. Just clean the surface up really good and start your staining process. If it doesn't, you may have to come back and etch the surface with a product that we have called Citrus Etch. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and put the water test down and watch and see how long it takes this to soak in. No big mystery on how this works. You're just gonna sprinkle a little bit of the water down and pay attention to how long it takes to soak in. You can see it's dark in the surface, so we've already got an immediate surface penetration, but the puddle needs to fall through and no more standing water. So as soon as this soaks in and you don't have standing water, we know we're okay, as long as it's within 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, so we did our water test here, and here's what we found. The water has not soaked in. It's been 5 minutes and this is still puddled up. We're getting a little bit of soak in, but it's evaporating more than it's soaking in. So we're gonna come back, we're gonna hit this with the Citrus Etch product, which is a eco-friendly way to etch your concrete. You don't have to mess with muriatic. Much safer way to do it. So we're gonna prep this up, get a Citrus Etch product mixed, and come back and etch this and show you what that looks like. Okay, we've done our water test. We've discovered the surface is a little too tight. We need to come back and apply the Citrus Etch products. We're gonna mix this up, show you how that goes. Right here, funnel just to try to keep things neat. And this is 10 ounces of the Citrus Etch product, which is made to go specifically with 1 gallon of water. Sold in different sizes depending on the size of your project. And just dump this in. This is so much better than using muriatic acid or TSP. Okay, so that looks good. Make sure that gets dispersed throughout. It will dissolve relatively quick. The warmer the water you add the Citrus Etch to, the faster it'll dissolve. What I'll do here today is just pour enough of this to cover this. You want to give it a good, kind of a saturating coat of the Citrus Etch product, and we're going to let it sit for a while. On your larger project, rather than just pouring it on, you could load this into a pump-up sprayer and saturate your whole project surface with it. This will serve our purpose today. Another important thing about Citrus Etch is you want to keep the surface wet with the product. Out here, direct sunlight, the concrete's starting to heat up. This will want to dry relatively fast. If it starts to dry within the time that this needs to sit, which is 10-15 minutes, you might want to wet it again, because once Citrus Etch dries on the surface, it can leave a chalky residue. It could be a little bit difficult to scrub off, so bear that in mind. All right, this looks like it's dissolved out. Let's go ahead and pour a little bit. Whenever you pour this, it almost looks a little bit like peroxide, and I don't even know if you see there's a little bit of smoke wisping off of here, which just lets you know that the etch is doing its job. Okay, we're gonna let this sit for a good 10 or 15 minutes. We're gonna babysit it, keep an eye on it. If it starts to get too dry, we'll add just a little bit more product to keep it wet until it's time to move this off and neutralize it. Okay, so we're gonna come back and check this, make sure it's not drying on us. We're working in direct sunlight, complete sun on our surface. Obviously here it really heats up the concrete, so we risk that drying a little faster than normal. It's already starting to dry just a little bit on the edges right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little bit more Citrus Etch, just like we spoke about in the beginning. We don't want it to dry. So let me just wet this a little bit more, and we'll give it a little more time to continue etching. I'm really encouraged because I noticed that this is already much darker than it was on our water test over here. So this is doing a fantastic job, and we're getting the intended result. Okay, we'll let this sit a few more minutes. Okay, we're back. The etching process is completed. You can see it's starting to dry here just a little bit. We're gonna come back, we're gonna neutralize this. I'm gonna add this 4 ounces to 1 gallon of water. We'll shake it up a little bit, pour the neutralizer on here, maybe scrub it just a little bit, and then let it dry. We'll go ahead and add our funnel just to keep things nice and neat. Very easy to disperse, really not even much shaking needed here. The reason we're neutralizing the etcher is because even though it is citrus based, It is still acidic, so it's got a low pH. We want to make sure that we get that to a neutral pH so it doesn't give any problems whenever we come back for the rest of our process. Also, important to mention, if you're working on your large project and you've put this all over the floor, if you go out to walk and neutralize, be wearing spiked shoes. Because it is acidic, you can print the surface if you don't wear spiked shoes while you're working with this product. The neutralization will happen almost immediately, but even so, you want to give this a little bit of time to soak in. I'm going to get a rag, I'm going to come back and clean up a little bit of my mess here. I'm going to get a soft bristled brush, and we'll just sort of work this in a little bit and rinse it with clear water. So I'm taking a soft bristled brush, we've applied the neutralizer to the citrus etch. Just going through and scrubbing it in, making sure that it gets penetrated down before we give this a thorough rinse. I don't know if you can pick it up in the camera, but you can already see a lot more porosity in this concrete after the etching process. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to get some clear water and just completely rinse this off. Obviously, if you're working on a bigger surface, you could use a squeegee, you could just use a larger brush or a shop broom or something like that to push the moisture off. Okay, we're going to let this completely dry.